This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Welcome to the Wire Weekly Roundup. The week in real estate presented in digestible bites. Hold on while our AI hosts take us on another ride through this week's top real estate headlines.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to The Wire. We are diving deep today, and, we've got you covered, our amazing real estate agents with all the latest trends, insights, and strategies that are really impacting you in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've gone through a whole bunch of different sources this week.
We have.
From some tips on how to deal with those, interesting clients, all the way to some pretty cool new tech and marketing stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, let's just get right to it. I think...
Let's dive in.
Yeah, dive right in.
Okay, so I think this first one probably rings true for pretty much every single real estate agent out there.
Oh, yeah. Dealing with those tough clients. It's like a rite of passage.
Right,
yeah.
Dealing with difficult clients. And, Bruce Christopher, he was speaking at the 2025 International Builders Show. He had some really great insights, I thought.
He did.
And one of the things that he kind of broke it down into was, he said, common challenging client types. He was talking about these volcanoes and bulldozers.
Oh, yeah, the intimidating ones, right.
Yes, the intimidating ones. And then know-it-alls.
Everyone's met a few of those.
Always, right.
Always.
And then whiners and complainers.
The perpetually negative.
Yes. And, it is really interesting because he was saying that their behavior often works for them, which I thought was very insightful.
It is. It's almost like, if you think about it, if they've learned over time that by being aggressive, they get their way, or by complaining, they get extra attention or concessions.
Right, or discounts.
Yeah, exactly. So it just kind of reinforces that behavior. And I think Christopher's categories are super helpful just to, understand where they might be coming from.
Right, and to give you a place to start thinking about, okay, how can I respond to this?
Exactly.
And he even offered, some strategies for these different types.
Yeah, he did.
Like for volcanoes and bulldozers, staying calm.
Which, easier said than done sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, when someone is really getting in your face, it's hard to stay calm. But he was saying, the feel, felt, found technique. Have you heard of that?
I have, yeah. It's a classic.
Yeah. Lowering your voice.
Which can actually be surprisingly effective.
It can be very disarming when someone is really loud and you just kind of quiet down.
It kind of forces them to adjust, yeah.
Yes, and just not arguing or mocking them.
Well, yeah. That's just good practice in general, I think.
Yeah. You don't want to escalate.
Exactly.
And then for, the know-it-alls, I really liked his suggestion of not correcting them in public.
Oh, yeah. Nobody likes to be called out in front of others.
Especially not a know-it-all, right?
Especially not them, no.
But asking questions privately.
Much more diplomatic, yeah.
Yes. Highlighting their individual talents, which I thought was a great way to sort of maybe sidestep some of that need to be right in a confrontational way.
Yeah, because you're acknowledging their expertise, but in a way that doesn't create conflict.
Right. And then, with the whiners and complainers.
The chronic negativity crew.
Yes. He was saying, focus on solutions.
Absolutely.
And ask, what would better look like?
Yeah, get them thinking constructively.
Yeah. And how can we get there?
So shifting the energy from just dwelling on the negative to actually problem solving.
Exactly. What was really interesting, and I think kind of sums up his overall approach, it's that idea of disrupting that negative pattern.
Yeah, it's like throwing them a curveball.
Yeah, he even suggested using humor with an intimidating client.
That's a bold move.
Which I thought was oh, wow, that could really backfire.
It could, but it could also, totally catch them off guard.
Right. And then he said, and this is really important, I think, for us, don't take the bait.
Meaning, don't let yourself get sucked into their negativity.
Right, don't engage in that same behavior.
Yeah, rise above it.
Choose your response. And I think that ties into this next expert that we were looking at, Daryl Davis.
Oh, yeah, Davis. He's all about understanding the why behind the client's behavior.
Yes, he was really emphasizing understanding what drives your clients, like deeply understanding it. And he made this really interesting analogy. It was to Claire Patterson, the scientist.
Right, the one who wasn't just content with dating the Earth. He wanted to know why his samples were messed up with all that lead.
Yes. He was like, wait, why is there so much lead contamination here?
And that led him to uncover a huge public health issue, right?
Yes. And Daryl Davis is saying we need that same kind of curiosity with our clients.
Absolutely. Like going beyond just their surface level needs and really trying to dig into their motivations, their fears, their aspirations.
Right. Like what's really driving them. And he was saying that we should be shifting from outcome-focused thinking to more process-oriented questions.
Yeah, instead of just thinking, I need 2 listings this month, ask yourself, what steps can I take to actually find and secure those listings?
Right. Or, how can I connect with more buyers in this specific neighborhood?
Exactly. It's about focusing on the process, the things you can control, rather than just the end result.
And then I thought this was a really good point, too, and something we should all remember is he was saying to view setbacks as feedback, not as failures.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge mindset shift.
It is. And he was saying, top producers, they're not afraid to ask those tough questions, even if it means hearing things they don't necessarily want to hear. They're constantly looking for ways to learn and grow from every interaction.
Which makes sense, right? If you're not learning from your mistakes or your setbacks, you're not really growing.
Exactly. And I think this ties in really well with this next source that we were looking at, Lee Davenport. She's got her PhD, by the way.
Very impressive.
I know. She was talking about AI and how it can actually help us to, she's talking about these AI note-taking tools like Read.ai.
Yeah, this is really cool tech. Like imagine never having to scramble to take notes during a virtual meeting again.
Right. Like
Yeah.
that's a huge time saver. She was saying, they provide summaries of the meeting, key discussion points, they list action items, even transcripts.
It's like having a personal assistant right there in the meeting with you, capturing everything. And it's all powered by what's called natural language processing, or NLP for short.
NLP.
Yeah, that's what allows these tools to understand spoken language, transcribe it accurately, and pull out those key nuggets of information.
Oh, wow. Okay. And she was also saying that these tools can actually analyze email threads.
Oh, yeah, super helpful for keeping track of those long, complicated email chains.
Right. Which, let's be honest, who has time to go back and read through 50 emails?
Nobody. Right.
So, she was saying that it can actually pull out the key takeaways, summarize them, list the action items.
It's like having a super efficient executive assistant who never sleeps.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then she brought up this really interesting point about these tools acting as a fairness coach.
Oh, yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, what? How can AI help me be more fair? And she was saying that some of these tools can actually analyze talk time during meetings.
Make sure everyone's voice is being heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Very cool.
Engagement levels of participants, inclusivity in language.
Mm-hmm.
It can even flag potential biases, which I thought was mind-blowing.
It is. It's like having a real-time feedback loop, helping you to communicate more effectively and inclusively.
Right. And then she was saying it can also provide this digital alibi, she called it.
Yeah, because it's creating a record of your interactions, which is really important for things like fair housing compliance.
Right, and making sure you have consent for recordings.
So it's not just about efficiency, it's about protecting yourself legally as well.
Yeah. And the fact that these tools can integrate with all these different platforms, your CRM, messaging apps, virtual meeting software.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems like a no-brainer.
It does, although Davenport also had a really important caveat.
Oh, yeah.
She stressed the need to always proofread anything the AI generates.
Okay, so don't just, blindly trust it.
Exactly. These tools are powerful, but they're not perfect.
Right.
They can sometimes make mistakes, she called them hallucinations, where they present wrong information as fact.
Hallucinations, I like that.
Yeah, it's a bit of AI jargon, but it basically means the AI is making stuff up.
Got it. Okay.
And then there's also the risk of these tools inheriting biases from the data they were trained on, which is something to be aware of.
Right. So the bottom line is, use AI as a tool, as an assistant, but don't put it on autopilot.
Precisely. You still need to be in control, using your judgment and expertise.
All right, so we've talked about mastering client relationships. We've talked about AI. Now let's talk about using technology to actually become a top producer, which is, the goal for everyone, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And the experts at PropStream, they're really emphasizing that top agents in 2025, they're the ones who are embracing these cutting-edge technologies.
They are, and they're using them for all sorts of things, like lead generation.
Finding those motivated sellers.
Yes. in-depth market analysis.
Yeah, really understanding the nuances of the market.
Yeah. And even crafting personalized outreach to potential clients.
It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Right. They specifically called out a platform. It was PropStream Intelligence.
Yeah, that one's known for its powerful data analytics.
Okay. And they were saying that it can help you identify those motivated sellers, which, I mean, that's like the holy grail, right?
It is, yeah.
And analyze property values, really understand, like, okay, what's this property worth? And they were saying that embracing automation, predictive analytics, and these smart marketing tools is giving those top agents a real competitive edge.
Yeah, and it's not just about having the tools, it's about knowing how to use them effectively.
Right, right. Okay, so we've talked about clients, we've talked about tech. Now let's move into the world of marketing and how to really connect with your clients. And, Robert Hughes, he had some really interesting things to say about storytelling and marketing and how important that is.
Oh, storytelling's huge. It's how we connect with each other, how we make sense of the world.
Right, right. And he was stressing, focus on your ideal client.
Know your audience, right?
Yeah. And then develop this consistent and compelling marketing narrative. And he actually laid out a really clear framework for this, which I thought was really helpful. He was saying, think about your client as the hero.
The hero of their own story.
Right. Facing a problem.
Like needing to buy or sell a house.
Exactly. Exactly. And then you, the agent, you step in as the guy.
The trusted advisor, the one with the plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you offer this, clear plan, a call to action that ultimately leads to, their success, happy ending.
It's a classic story structure, but it works.
It does. It does. And then, he made this great point about keeping your message short and simple.
The art of the one-liner, as he calls it.
Yes. Consistent across all of your marketing platforms.
Whether they see you on social media, your website, or billboard, they're getting the same clear, concise message.
Yes. I also really loved his perspective on being a teacher. Being the teacher who genuinely wants what's best for the client. Not just, a salesperson who's trying to get something from them.
Yeah, that's a crucial distinction. It's about building trust in genuine relationships.
Right. And he had this brilliant suggestion, which I'm totally going to steal. He said, brainstorm 52 questions that your clients typically ask.
A year's worth of content.
Yes. And then create valuable content that actually answers those questions.
So you're positioning yourself as a resource, an expert they can rely on.
Exactly. Okay, so let's move on to lead nurturing, which is something that Ashley Harwood was really emphasizing, the importance of having a strategy for lead nurturing.
Yeah, lead nurturing is essential. It's about building relationships, staying top of mind, and ultimately converting those leads into clients.
Right. She pointed out that, most leads, they don't convert right away. It takes time. It could be months, could even be years.
It's a long game, for sure.
It is. It is. But, you have to stay engaged.
Absolutely. And Harwood outlined 7 key lead nurturing strategies, which is a pretty good toolkit to start with.
Yeah. She talked about texting.
Less intrusive for initial contact, good for sending property updates.
Right, right. Email drip campaigns.
Keeping that consistent communication going through your CRM.
Okay. Calling.
Still a great way to build that personal connection.
Yes. And even leaving voicemails.
Which can actually be surprisingly effective. It shows you're making an effort.
It does, yeah. And then snail mail, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, a little old school, but it can stand out in a world of digital clutter.
It can, definitely.
Yeah.
And then social media, of course.
Meeting people where they are, building relationships online.
Yes. In-person meetings, if you can swing them.
Highest level of rapport building for sure.
Yeah. And then even hosting events.
Great for nurturing those leads and expanding your network.
Okay, so out of all of those, what do you think is the most effective? Or is it really just a mix of everything?
It's definitely a mix, but I think the key takeaway is consistency and providing value.
Okay, value.
Yeah, don't just check in with generic messages. Offer something useful, whether it's insights on off-market properties, tips on staging their home for sale, whatever is relevant to their situation.
Okay, be helpful, be valuable.
Exactly, and be patient. Lead conversion takes time.
Right, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly, and don't forget your CRM.
That's your best friend.
It is. It helps you stay organized and track all those interactions.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground. Let's move on to something a little different. This was really interesting.
Yeah, this one's about mortgage rates.
Yes, the Mortgage Rate Affordability Index, or MRAI.
A mouthful, but a really useful tool.
And Pat Zabey brought this to our attention, and it was developed by the Residential Real Estate Council. And it's designed to kind of help buyers reframe how they think about mortgage rates.
Yeah, because rates have been fluctuating. And it's easy for buyers to get caught up in the headlines and feel uncertain.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how does it actually work?
It's actually a pretty straightforward calculation. You take the average mortgage rate over the past 50 years, we're talking long-term trends here,
Okay.
divide that by the current mortgage rate, and then multiply the whole thing by 100.
Okay. So I'm guessing like where that number falls, it kind of tells us something.
It does. It gives us a score, and
Yeah.
that score helps us understand how today's rates compare to the historical average.
Right, got it.
So using the numbers from early March 2025, with a 50-year average of about 7.74% and current rates around 6.76%.
That's a big difference.
It is, yeah. The MRAI comes out to roughly 114.5.
114.5, okay.
Yeah, and what that tells us is that even though rates might feel high compared to the super low rates we saw during the pandemic, they're actually still quite favorable historically.
Okay, so that's really important for buyers to understand, right?
Absolutely. It's about providing them with context, helping them see the bigger picture.
So what are some things that agents can say to kind of like put this into perspective for their clients?
Zabi suggests reminding them about the long-term benefits of homeownership building equity, potential for appreciation,
Right, right.
and that refinancing is always an option down the road if rates happen to drop significantly.
Okay, so don't feel like you're locked into this rate forever.
Exactly. And crucially, emphasize that historical context.
Right, like those super low rates, those were an anomaly.
They were. So this tool gives agents a really concrete, data-driven way to counter that buyer hesitation that's often based on short-term rate fluctuations.
That's great. It's like a reality check, but in a positive way.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different things, from handling those challenging client personalities to leveraging AI to crafting compelling marketing narratives and navigating the ever-changing world of mortgage rates. What's the big takeaway for our Wire listeners?
I think the common thread that runs through all of these insights is this: you need to be both adaptable and truly client-focused.
Okay. Adaptable client focus.
Yeah, whether it's dealing with difficult clients, using AI to work smarter, telling stories that resonate, nurturing those leads, or providing valuable insights on market conditions, your ability to understand and connect with your clients, that's what really sets you apart.
It's the human element, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And the real estate market is constantly changing, technology is evolving at a rapid pace, and client expectations are becoming more diverse. But those core skills, understanding, connecting, guiding those, are timeless.
And I think that's a really good point to end on, is remembering that human connection. And, thinking beyond just the transactions, the buying and selling. You as real estate agents, you have so much knowledge to offer.
Oh yeah, we're talking expertise in everything from neighborhood trends to home staging to understanding what renovations will add value.
Right. Like, for example, let's say you have a client who's thinking about renovating their kitchen. You can talk to them about things like, shaker cabinets are still really popular.
It's a timeless classic.
Right. Quartz countertops are really big in bathrooms. And you probably have a network of reliable contractors that you can refer them to.
Exactly. You can be a one-stop shop, helping them avoid those costly renovation mistakes and make smart decisions that will increase their home's value.
Right. And that just strengthens that relationship, makes you that trusted advisor for all their real estate needs.
Absolutely. And when we look across all these sources, it's clear that while AI and fancy marketing tools are great, they work best when they're used to enhance those core human skills, not replace them.
Yeah. The top agents, they're the ones who can strike that balance between the tech and the human touch.
It's like a powerful combination.
It is. It is. All right. That is our deep dive for this week on The Wire.
We hope you found it valuable.
Yes, we hope these insights have given you some new ideas, some new strategies to try out in your business.
And as always, we want to hear from you. What resonated with you? What questions do you have?
Yeah, keep the conversation going. And remember, stay informed, stay adaptable, and stay focused on your clients, and you'll be well on your way to success in this ever-changing market.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
If you're interested in your own personalized edition of The Wire, please visit us at thewire.fm/custom. We offer market-specific podcasts with all the latest real estate news and market analysis delivered to you weekly or monthly. Own your market with a personalized edition of The Wire, The Week in Real Estate. Thank you for listening.